WebHost.com. I host, create, set up, customize WordPress blogs and websites. And today I'm going to share a little WordPress with you. So let's get started. Now that we have our files uploaded to our server, the next thing we need to do is install the WordPress platform on our particular domain name. Before we can do that, we'll have to create a database on our server for WordPress to use. And so we're going to do that we're going to go to our domain name and we're going to log in. You can see here we got an error message that says we need to create a configuration file. We can't do that until we have a database created on the server, and we do that in our control panel. And you'll have to talk to your host if you don't know how to get into your control panel, or you don't know how to create a database on your server. And you can talk to your host provider, and they can give you those instructions if you're not familiar with it, or you can contact me on my website, WebHost.com. Okay, I'm logging into my control panel now, and I'm going to look for MySQL databases. So I'm going to scroll down till I see a header called Databases, and I'm going to click on MySQL databases. And there are no databases associated with this account because this was a brand new domain. And we got to create a new database, and I'm just going to call our database blog. Short name, 4, 5, 6 letters is usually best. So I'm going to create that database, and the database has been created now. So the next thing I have to do is I have to create a user for the database. This is not as complex as it sounds, it's just 2 or 3 steps here. So the next thing we'll do is we'll put a username in. I always use my username. I just use the username admin. And I create my user. So now my user has been created, and we go back, and I've got to add the user to a database. So I'm adding the admin user to the database blog. I add that, and I have to give it privileges to the user, and I'm going to give all privileges to the user. And so now I have an admin user, and we have a database, and we can use those when we create our config file. So I'm going to go ahead and log out of my control panel. Now I need to create my config file, and WordPress has given us a sample, and that sample will be on our files that we have on our PC. And I'm going to right click, I'm going to select it and right click, and I'm going to edit the wp config-sample PHP file. So I have to put the name of my database where it says put your DB name here. My database name is Austin FL_blog. I have to put the username where it says username here. My username is Austin FL_admin. And then I have to put the password where it says put your password here. And so I type the password that I used. And now I have customized my WordPress wp-config-sample PHP file so that I can use it on the server. So I'm going to save it, but instead of saving it back as the sample, I'm going to save as, and I am going to put it right back into the same directory under WordPress, and I'm going to save it with no extension. It's just going to be wp-config.php. We'll get rid of that sample. So now I've got wp-config.php, and I'm going to save it to my WordPress directory on my computer. Okay, now that I've done that, I can go back and I can to my FileZilla, and I can refresh the screen by right-clicking and clicking refresh, and I will see if I go down to wp-config that this file has been newly created. So now I can upload my wp-config file to the server. And I just do that by double-clicking on it. And now if I look over at the server, I have a wp-config file. I also have a wp-config.sample file. I don't need that. I'm going to delete it. So now I'm going to go back to austinflix.com and just go to the website, austinflix.com, and WordPress is going to take over here and help me configure my WordPress platform installation. And the first thing it's going to ask me for is a blog title. Now, I haven't given this much thought because this website was basically created as a sample for my tutorials, but we'll just call it Austin Videos, and we'll put my email in here, which is mike@webbymike.com, and it gives me the option of allowing my blog to appear in search engines like Google. And of course, we want it to appear in Google so people can find it. So I'll leave that checked, and I will install WordPress. WordPress has been installed. The username I have is admin, and it gives me this crazy password. We're going to copy this because it's the only way we can get into our admin panel is by using this username, admin, and our password, which they provided us. And so our next step will be entering our admin panel for the first time, and we'll do an overview of the admin panel for WordPress.